Hi, Karen Curry here, author of the #1 best-selling book, Understanding Human Design, with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. We start the week with the Sun in the Gate 35, the Gate of Experience, and the Earth in the Gate 5, the Gate of Rhythm. So this week we have a really lovely focus on evaluating our experience. We've been struggling with the theme of focus for the last week or so. This week with the 35 in the Sun, we're now looking at our experience and what we've accomplished and really able to tease out those pieces that are really important. And with the 5 in the Earth, this gives us the energy not only to tease out what's important and where to put our focus, but it also gives us the capacity to really create new habits and new rhythms around getting stuff done. And if you want to come up with a theme for the week, the theme for this week is definitely going to be getting stuff done. We see Mercury move, actually Mercury's still staying in the Gate 15 where it's been for a little bit. That Gate 15, the Gate of the Love of Humanity, reaches down and meets its electromagnetic match with the Earth in the Gate 5, defining the entire channel of rhythm and flow, also defining the G center, giving us, again, a more clarified sense of direction this week, as well as the sacral. So those of you who are manifestors, projectors, and reflectors who don't normally carry this kind of workforce energy, be ready. You've got yet another week of pulsing life force energy going through you that may ultimately leave you feeling sort of energized, but simultaneously a little bit fried and exhausted. So be careful that you don't burn your engines on all cylinders. Make sure you pace yourselves. Those of you who are generators, the good news is when you wait for things to respond this week, you get an extra added oomph of being in the right place at the right time, having the right influence, making the right impact to make a difference in the world. Venus moves from the 27th to the Gate 24 on Thursday. That means in relationships, we have a really bit of an interesting play, particularly given the fact that Mercury goes retrograde on June the 7th. So anytime Mercury goes retrograde, we get an opportunity to kind of look back and evaluate the past, check out where we're going, look at what mistakes have we made. It's a really nice time to get clear and evaluate what's come before we move forward. With Venus moving from the 27th to the 24, we have the possibility of taking on too much responsibility in our relationships and ultimately being able to justify being responsible for things perhaps you might not be responsible for. So it's really crucial this week as you're looking at your relationship energy to make sure that you're giving people responsibility where they need to be taking it. In other words, the biggest question or the most important question you can ask yourself in the context of your relationships is, whose problem is it? And if it isn't your problem, don't rationalize holding on to it. You've got a lot of other stuff you need to be doing this week, so make sure that you're letting go of the things you need to be letting go of and giving people their due where that needs to be given. And in addition, also recognizing where perhaps, even if things aren't looking the way they need to be right now in your relationships, you need to justify and rationalize for yourself whether it's worth staying and holding on or not. Hopefully it is. With Mars in the 48, we have a tendency and a drive to go deep. And this is, again, in terms of our relationships and looking at what's going on in the context of our Venus energy, this is a really nice energy to go deep into your relationship and relationship patterns. And we've been here, again, for a couple of weeks. But there's also a real interesting tendency when Mars is in this 48 for us to feel inadequate, to feel like, I don't know enough, I don't have enough experience. Go deep. But also make sure you take those leaps of faith and go spring into action this week. Don't spend too much time evaluating whether you know enough or whether you need another certificate or a training. You probably don't. You're probably ready. So take those leaps this week. Trust that if you think you don't know what you're doing, you will find out that you have all the experience and information necessary. So don't be afraid to just jump. We see another big celestial shift this week in the outer planets. We've had a lot of movement in the outer planets. This is our last big shift for a couple of weeks until the nodes move at the end of this month. But Jupiter now moves from the 53, where it's been sitting not for too very long, giving us this nice support and nice blessing for new beginnings. It moves from the 53 into the 62 on Tuesday. So what that says for us is that we've now been initiated. The new beginning has begun, so you're knee deep in it. As I said, the theme this week is getting stuff done. With this shift into the 62, Jupiter now brings us the practical solutions for what's facing us so that we can begin to take those steps forward in a very logical, in a very sequential, in a very practical way so that we can really begin manifesting what we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Saturn, of course, continues to journey through the gate 1, giving us the power and the inspiration to make our unique creative contribution to the world. Uranus, again, still sitting in that gate 51, ready to shock us out of our complacency, ready to shock us and initiate us into that continuation of this new journey that we've been on all year. Neptune stays in the 37, guaranteeing us that when we are true to ourselves, we will be given all the support and resources necessary to create sustainable communities, sustainable concepts, sustainable values. Of course, Pluto's in the 38, again, testing us and encouraging us to discover what's worth fighting for. The nodes are in the 50 and the 3. So again, we're still in this huge cycle of reevaluating our values. That shifts at the end of the month. So it's not a harsh week, not a dodgy week, not like it's been. May and April were particularly rough in terms of the transits. We're in a nice coasting cycle here. You know, the hard work, the initiation, for the most part, has been completed. Now it's time to be true to yourself, continue to do what you need to do, and get to work. Have a good week. I'll talk to you next week.